Welcome to the Spaghetti Junction Boys podcast, coming to you from beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. I'm your host, William Hildebrand, joined by Doc Jacobson. Before we get started, I want to thank Rosati's and Buckhead, the #1 place to watch all the action. Over 40 big screen TVs, over 100 beers on tap, the coldest beer in Atlanta, the best pizza in Atlanta, the best wings in Atlanta. Support the people who support us, Rosati's and Buckhead. Now, I don't know who I have upset, or what sort of enemies I've made, or frankly, what sort of cat I've befriended. But I've found 3 dead mice in front of my front stoop in the last week. I just asked a flurry of neighbors who said they have not had any dead mice. It's not an everyone problem. It's a me problem. And I don't know what's happening.
I believe somebody is making offerings to the Cat in the Hat right outside of your apartment there. They're hoping, an offering, to the Cat in the Hat god, and they just want to be able to rhyme better. Maybe it's a street artist, maybe it's a rapping cat. Who knows? Maybe they got to get their rhymes up.
This is some form of street art, is just leaving dead mice on my front steps.
It's Banksy, dude. It's worth millions of dollars.
I don't know. I have a Ring video doorbell. And if it's not picking up this, it's not doing the exact one job I want it to do. Anytime a RAV4 passes by my house, Ring notification, someone at your front door. And it's just someone cruising by in a Kia Sorento. But no, if some degenerate is putting dead mice in front of, my wife says they're rats. I don't know if they're rats, but they're also bigger than mice. They're some sort of hybrid that, I don't know, science should be excited about. In case like mice were ever too small and rats were too big. But no, it's not catching that on the Ring video doorbell, that I have some freak show leaving these mice, because it's not like a hawk dropped it and it's just like flying above. It's like, shit. Knew I should have clinched harder on that. Like they're intact. It looks like maybe like there was an OD of some kind, maybe old age. I can't tell how old mice are. I don't know how they died, but they're not like bleeding anywhere.
The 3 blind mice just got hooked on opiates.
Yeah. Well, what's weird is I found 2 at one time next to each other. And I don't know if that's a Romeo and Juliet situation, but it was very odd that there was just 2 dead, fully intact mice.
The 3rd blind mice wanted all the glory for himself, so took out the other 2, and then karma caught up with him.
Shit, this goes deeper than I even thought. Well, I don't know what to do about it, but I'm very concerned. So if any listeners have any ideas on what to do about these mice, or if you're having this situation as well, I'll take dead mice over alive mice. I'll say that. I felt like that's important to mention. But I also don't feel like I'm out of line by saying I'd rather no mice at all. Just kind of where I'm at with that. So, of course, there was a big sex scandal that was permeating throughout the internet that everyone is talking about, involving a figure in the NFL who was obviously once in the SEC, right where we're in the heart of here in Atlanta. And that, of course, is Bills wide receiver Isaiah McKenzie, a.k.a. Joystick, former University of Georgia wide receiver and returner from Miami, who went on the Go Long show with Tyler Dunne. Tyler, I hope I'm saying that right, Dunne. And in the show, and by the way, Tyler does a fantastic job. I don't know why I just said that like Trump. There was no need to just like talk about how good he is at what he does, but I just felt the need to put that in there. But anyway, Tyler and Isaiah were talking, and he asked him about his Notre Dame commitment. And Isaiah just kind of took a step back and was like, okay, you're going to ask me about that. And then tells the story. I'd never heard about this before. So Isaiah was a very highly recruited kid out of South Florida, very, very fast, very shifty, and obviously went on to the NFL. And he was committed to Notre Dame. And when he went on his visit to Notre Dame, McKenzie said that one of the assistant coaches said, hey, here campus-wide at Notre Dame, the students don't have sex. And it was dead serious. And Isaiah McKenzie was just like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, they don't have sex. And he said he got home on Monday and decommitted.
Hey, guys got priorities.
You hear about, I mean, I get it. It's just like, hey, I'm going to go be a star football player somewhere. And it's just like, oh, well, hope you have a couple online subscriptions. I've heard of good recruiters all over. Oh, they can really relate to the kids, or the moms love them, or blah, 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 blah. But my God, whoever this guy is has to be the worst recruiter ever. Hey, what's important to 17-year-olds? Sex. I don't think they like that. No, 17-year-old boys not interested in sex where they're going to college. So I'll tell them, we don't have sex here. How have you gotten that far in life and believing like, oh no, Joe Montana got to the 49ers a virgin? What the hell are you talking about? I mean, just because Rudy obviously was a virgin, but allegedly, also not allegedly, I just made that. But what are you doing? How's your head that far in the sand? Like, I know I've seen some people in Indiana, and you don't necessarily want them having sex, but they do. Jim Gaffigan's got like 11 kids.
Yeah, I think he just played into the Catholic university role a little too much. He's like, look, they're not married, can't have sex. You know, it's a big statute of the Catholic law there. So maybe he was just falling into that. Maybe he just didn't want the guy to play. Maybe he thought he was going to be a problem child for their team and just was like, hey, well, what's the one way to make sure this kid doesn't commit? All right, we are going to tell kids don't have sex here.
Opposite way with it.
Yeah, I think maybe he just didn't want him. He didn't like him.
Yes.
Maybe he had, somebody's dad had some blackmail on him for the same position and was like, yo, you got to get that kid out there and get my kid in. You never know.
It's because it's always a tenuous position for coaches to be in to get a guy to decommit. When you take away their scholarship, you hear it every single year. A dude loses his scholarship because a bigger fish wanted to come on the boat. And so then they have to pull the scholarship, say, sorry, we told you we were going to have room for you. We don't now. We have a finite amount of scholarships. And so you see it burns bridges with different high schools. He went to one of the big high schools in South Florida. Maybe Notre Dame didn't want to burn that bridge, but thought he was, too pequeño to be on the Fighting Irish. That he didn't have, there was not enough fight in that Irish in Isaiah McKenzie.
Maybe not enough Irish in the fight.
What's a way to get him to not want to come here? Yeah, we don't have sex. That'll do it.
That's the only thing that makes sense. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense.
I mean, I don't know. I just hope this guy's on staff at BYU now, because if that's like his go-to move, players are gonna be like, yeah, I mean, I know. I know. Okay.
Yeah.
But all right, well, Doc, let's get into what the people are waiting on. That is Gamblin Dans. You're here to make money one way or the other. If we're hot, you ride the picks. If we're not, you fade the picks. And the SJB boys have been on a bit of a cold streak. Doc, how did you end up last week?
2-3, but I believe I did not hit my whammy. I had to pull it up here. Give me a second. But just like 2 for the money, man. We're on the backslide. He wins it all in the Super Bowl. Just ride with us. Fade us if you have to. Stay with us if you don't. We're gonna get you money one way or another. Yeah, so turned around the boat a little bit. Was going up down the wave, turned it, tried to get sideways. About went even. 3-2. Won my first whammy of the year. So whammies are looking hot. Starting to read the board a little bit better, and I'm staying all NFL. I'm done with college. College is over. I've graduated. I'm out of college. I'm on to the professionals.
Yeah, I had a 2-3 week. Sadly enough, Ole Miss was my whammy. Went too close to them and lost that by a touchdown. So I'm 9-11 on the year. 0-4 in whammies. Michael last year was insane with the whammies. I think only lost 2 or 3 all year. And now here I am trying to carry on his legacy 0-4. Doc, 3-2 weeks. So he's 6-13-1 on the year, but on the upswing. On the upswing. 1-3 in whammies. Ben went 2-3 and lost his whammy. So he's 7-11-2 and then 2-2. So I guess as until further notice, just fade these. But we're going to do our best to try and win these. Listen, I'm not going to spit on you and tell you it's raining. We're fighting for our lives here. This is Sawshank, and we're just climbing through mountains of shit to try and get to Mexico. All right, and that Mexico is winning tickets at the window. So Doc, why don't you get started with 2?
All right, like I said earlier, I'm staying in the NFL here. My first 2 picks. I've got a crazy man by the name of Aaron Rodgers, -3 at Cincinnati. Are you kidding me? Give me that all day. Packers -3. I like Cincinnati. They're a good team. They'll keep it close for the first half. But Aaron Rodgers has been decimating teams in the third and fourth quarter, second half of the games this year. Love Aaron Rodgers in this position. Big time show up Joe Burrow movement. I mean, he's back on his fuck you tour. Love it. Packers -3. Second game. It's going to be a tight defensive game. Got Browns at Chargers. Love the under here. 47. I think Browns scored 14 points last weekend, and the Chargers scored. Yes, they scored 28. A couple of blown coverages by the Raiders on Monday Night Football. I think this game is a tight one, a 21-17 game maybe. You're hitting that. No way that breaks 47.
All right. So just like you're sticking all NFL, I'm sticking with all SEC. It just means more, but the money counts the same. So my first SEC pick, I'm going to take Texas +3 against Oklahoma.
I'm so mad at you.
Listen, Texas, they're playing some good football. Steve Sarkisian has them scoring a ton of points, hung up 70 on the Red Raiders, and then got a win last week against the Frogs. Now they're +3 going up against the Sooners. The Sooners are one of the worst teams in college football at covering. They're 1-4 against the spread this year, and they're missing covers by over a touchdown. I would love if this had a hook, because every Oklahoma game other than one this year has been very, very close. And so I would love a hook here, but I still believe in Texas. I think Texas can win outright. I think this game's going to come down like this usually does to the last couple minutes. My next pick that I'm going to give you the Alabama Crimson Tide. Listen, they're -17 going to College Station. Sorry, 17.5. We thought College Station. Oh, God, I shouldn't cough on air. Sorry, this is my flu game. I don't need your thoughts and prayers, but they are appreciated if you want to give 17.5. We came into the year thinking Texas A&M. Oh, my gosh, are they going to challenge for the SEC? Jimbo has them humming. They had a great season last year, almost made the playoff. Then they lose to Mississippi State. They lose to Arkansas. It's very clear that it's 2 teams at the top of the SEC and then everyone else. We have Alabama, who's fresh off of, I don't know what word you want to use. They beat Ole Miss, and it was never in question. Now 17.5 with a team who has a bad offensive line in Texas A&M and a bad quarterback and a confident Alabama team who is rolling. I don't believe in Jimbo. I do believe in Saban. I really believe in 17.5. Huge line, lay 'em, roll Tide.
Well, just so you know, Texas and OU are not in the SEC, so don't mislead the people like that, Michael.
Aren't they, though?
William. Aren't they? No, they're not. All right, pick for 3 and 4 coming up to you. Like I said, still staying in the NFL. I'm really liking the Patriots at Houston. I'm not going on the always bet against Houston rampage like I did last year. They did just give up 40 unanswered points to the Bills in Buffalo. I really liked how the Patriots played Tom Brady and the Bucks. So I think they come out after a tough loss. They should have won that game. That field goal should have been good. But after a tough loss, I think they come out and just stomp the ever-living dog shit out of these Houston Texans. They're dead in the water. Nobody wants to play. They're on like their 4th QB. They are just done for. Pick number 4. I like a home dog here. I was looking for a home dog because these lines are getting tight. Vegas is smartening up. I like Washington +2 against the Saints. I think everyone has figured out Jameis Winston and what the Saints can do. They don't have a downfield deep threat. Kamara has been just mugged in the box every weekend. I think that this Washington defense, it's not great, but it's good enough to keep this game close. I do not see Jameis throwing the ball all over the field. I dropped him in every fantasy league that I had him. I know we don't cover fantasy, but just not a believer in Jameson anymore. Give me Washington +2.
So sticking in the SEC, give me Tennessee and South Carolina under 56.5. I know Tennessee's fresh off scoring 62 against Missouri. Missouri has fallen off an absolute cliff here. But the other games, they've allowed only 6 points to Bowling Green, the Vols have. They shut out Tennessee Tech. Oof. Allowed Missouri to only score 24. But Tennessee's offense against pretty good defenses, not great. Scored just 14 points against the Florida Gators. South Carolina, despite having a lot of holes on that roster, most of them on offense, which is what's lending to this pick, has a lot of dudes in that front seven, maybe 4 or 5 dudes who are going to play in the NFL. They have a really good front seven. I don't know if Tennessee's going to be able to run it like they were able to run it down Missouri's throats. Meanwhile, like I said, South Carolina's offense is anemic. If you take out their opener against an FCS team, they've scored 20 points, 13 points, 10 points, and 23 points. So now you're telling me I need 8 touchdowns and more to cover that hook? I just don't see it. Give me the under in this game. Next game, Doc, you know this pains me. It pains me. But Arkansas +6. I'm going to be rooting to lose this pick, just like I was rooting to lose the Raiders -4.5 the other day against the Miami Dolphins, and then I got the worst of both worlds, and that the Dolphins lost, and I also didn't cover. But I'm going to be rooting to lose this one. I'd love to blow Arkansas out of the water, but the Razorbacks are 4-1 against the spread this year. They're beating it by 6.5 points on average. Obviously, that was hurt by getting demolished last week. Their best win is now against Texas, but their A&M win, obviously, that shot them up the polls. Not looking as great now, but still, Arkansas gives Ole Miss fits. The 4th and 25 that cost Ole Miss from going to the college football playoff the other year. Last year caused Heisman frontrunner Matt Corral to throw 6 interceptions in that game. I think Corral's going to have a lot better game. I think he's had this one circled. Maybe why the team had such a dog shit showing last week is they all were focused on the Pigs. But Ole Miss has just had trouble with Arkansas recently, and Sam Pittman has the kids playing hard. I just don't see this as any semblance of a blowout, which I know a touchdown's not a blowout, but just get off my back. All right, Arkansas +6.
I like it. Obviously, tough to root against your team, but you're seeing the board. You're trying to be smart. I like it. Yeah. I like it. But we're heading. What was that?
A little reverse jinx in there.
There you go. But we're heading into whammies here. This one made the most sense on the board all weekend. I like Cardinals -5.5 at home against San Francisco. Jimmy G is out. Trey Lance is just freaking throwing bricks at people's hands. Deebo Samuelson is one of the hardest balls to catch. He just doesn't have that touch, that feel yet. Definitely not doing any long over-the-shoulder drop-in basket catches with any of those wide receivers. So you'd have to rely on their run game, which is one of the most dinged-up run games in the entire league. I think they've had 3 running backs go down this year already. So I'm loving this Cardinals -5.5. Kyler's great. That defense is playing out just out of their mind. I like it. I like it a lot. Love the hook. I think Cardinals win by more than touchdown easy. So that's where I'm sitting. Cardinals -5.5.
For me, listen, I'm 0-4 with whammies so far this year. So if you're picking someone particular to fade on a pick, it's probably me, and it's probably this one. But I'm still going to give it to you anyway with the same confidence I always do. So give me the Dogs. -15 against Auburn. This is a rivalry game. The Deep South's oldest rivalry. I know. But Auburn is fresh off a really, really emotional win down in Baton Rouge. Bo Nix made the play of the year so far, other than maybe that Oklahoma interception a couple weeks ago. But in the SEC right now, who do we know that's good? We know Vanderbilt's terrible. We thought Mizzou could be fine. Now they're back. We thought Tennessee was a nightmare. Could be fine. Mississippi State loses to Memphis. Should have lost to Louisiana Tech. Now they go and beat A&M. We thought A&M was going to be world beaters. Then they lose to Arkansas and Mississippi State. Almost lose to a bad Colorado team. We don't know if anyone is good. All we know is Vanderbilt sucks and Georgia and Alabama are really, really damn good. Georgia's defense is a nightmare, and that does not spell good things for a team who doesn't know who their quarterback is. Georgia shuts out Arkansas last week, 37-0. The week before that, shuts out Vanderbilt, 62-0. Week before that, 40-13 over South Carolina. Week before that, 56-7 over Bill Clark and UAB, and of course they beat Clemson to start the year, 10-3. That Georgia defense is for real, and I don't know if Brian Harsin is ready for that. I'm pretty sure Bo Nix is not ready for that. So it's a huge number, but if I told you this game ends 31-10, are you shocked? 15's a ton, but so are those dogs. Whole ton. So give me Georgia. I'm laying the 15.
They've been covering. They're a great team. I like them.
They're an absolute monster. Speaking of monsters, Bryson DeChambeau, mother of God. Listen, Bryson DeChambeau, it was tweeted out from Dan Rappaport that sounds like Bryson is the classic green text guy. From Scotty Scheffler, quote, our Ryder Cup group chat was kind of a pain in the butt because Bryson was the only one without an iPhone, end quote. Listen, I started to get a little bit more on the Bryson train. Listen, you hit the ball really far. That's fun for me to watch. I like seeing that because I know it's something that I can't do. Great putters. Listen, I hit a great putt every 1 in 50 putts. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I've seen that before. So it doesn't impress me. So when I see someone who can absolutely launch it, I'm like, okay, that's great to watch. Half, big drawback for me. I do like him just starting shit a lot. I also don't like fire ants. So I've been kind of here with Bryson. But the green text, an Android guy, dude, come on. I don't even understand Android people. It's not a money thing. Like, I don't think Androids are cheaper than iPhones. I could be wrong on that. This isn't like shitting on someone for having Cricket Mobile, okay? Like, I don't think that this is, an aristocrat point of view that I'm putting out. But stop getting droids. What are you doing? You're annoying everyone. Like, it starts a million group texts of, oh, emphasize this and what's going on. Get an iPhone, okay? Just what are you doing? My dad called me a few years ago and said, I see these commercials for droids where they have these old people waiting in line for an iPhone, and then they see these young kids coming by with a droid. Are iPhones for old people? And I was a senior in college at the time. I said, Dad, I don't know a single person that doesn't have an iPhone. And that was years ago. And so you can imagine how it's been exacerbated ever since. But dude, don't be the guy of, oh, it takes so many better pictures, or, oh yeah, I'm just not a sheep, all right? And oh, it has all these capabilities. Look what I can do with my lock screen. Like, no one likes that. No one wants to hear that. You're worse than the, oh yeah, no, I used to have iTunes until I started hearing stuff on vinyl and realized how much better it is. Being the droid guy who's like on his shit, and it's like the only droid people there are. There's not like droid people go, oh yeah, I don't know, it's just a phone. It's always just like, oh no, it's so superior to the iPhone. You are worse than the book was better than the movie people. Oh, did you like the movie? Oh, the book was better. You're worse than that. Just bite the bullet. I mean, sure, Tim Cook's going to probably put a microchip in all of us at some point, but just bite the bullet and have it. Then you'll be on your own cloud.
Yeah, obviously price should not be an issue for Bryson, so that's just obviously out the window. But it is half the price. I mean, a new iPhone's $1,000, and a new Google Pixel 5, which is like one of the better Android phones, is $450. So there is a big price difference there for the general public. Understand that, but for Bryson, he's a millionaire. He makes millions of dollars playing golf. Shouldn't be an issue for him. I think it just plays into his character of being a troll, or just being so unfamiliar with everything. Was that?
If that's a big commitment to the bit, if he's doing that just to be a dick. That's your everyday of just being on your phone. Man, this phone's a shit. Yeah, it's pissing everyone off.
Maybe he was on an iPhone before and he was having way too much screen time, like 10, 12 hours a day of screen time, and he was like, let me grab a crappier phone so I'm not on my phone so much, so I can swing the ball. I mean, it would be probably around the time pre-pandemic or in the pandemic when he gained all that weight. Maybe he was on his iPhone too much. He's like, I'm going to help maybe lose some weight, get off the phone a little bit, get a crappier phone.
Yeah, look at the big brain on Doc. Okay.
But it still sucks. Android people do suck. I'm with you with that.
Yeah, I had an Android because I showed up to the phone store. Flu game. Thoughts and prayers. Thank you. I showed up to the phone store and was like, hey, I'd like an iPhone. The guy's like, oh, no, man, you don't want that. You want this Droid, bro. And I was like, no, I don't. I just want an iPhone. He's like, well, an iPhone can't do this. I was like, I just want an iPhone. Well, it can't do this. And I was like, dude, I just want an iPhone, please. And he was like, if you get an iPhone, you don't like it, you can't return it and get a Droid. But if you get a Droid you don't like, you can return and get an iPhone. I was like, fine. So I got a Droid, and I was furious. I had it for 3 days and took it back, and I said, this is the worst thing I've ever had in my life. He's like, what? Bruh, it's so cool. I was like, no, this is a nightmare. And so I've hated drones ever since, and just as the phone. And then I met Droid people. They're PBR people, is what they are. Oh, no, I don't drink that other crap that they tell you to drink on commercials. I drink something with soul in it.
Yeah, I mean, you throw a lot of generalizations out about Android people, and I love it. But the fact that you had another man talk you out of getting an iPhone, you're suspect, Michael. Yes, or Mr. Hildebrand, you're suspect.
This is like 2011 when this happened.
Okay.
So I was a young pup. I never had an iPhone before. Apple wasn't the monster that it is today, and I think I was trading in a BlackBerry to get it. Is where we were at in this time frame.
But yeah, that was like 3G. That would have been like an iPhone 3. Like that is.
It was just G.
Off technology.
Just G. That's it.
G.
So we haven't talked about something that is near and dear to my heart in quite some time, and that is Florida man. For those who do not know, I myself am a Florida man. My birth certificate, my passport say that I was born in Florida. It's a point of pride for me. I love my state. I have dolphins and Miami Heat things on my walls because I love my state. I'm proud to be from Florida. It is America's Australia. And it gets shit on by everyone, but you know where you go when you get out of rehab or once your divorce is finalized? You're damn right. You move down to Florida, don't you? Oh, no, it's so cold here in Cleveland. Oh, where are we going to go for spring break? Daytona, Fort Lauderdale, Pensacola. You come down to Florida, okay? And so, Florida man, a 90-year-old Florida man, an old Florida man, was arrested after punching a neighbor in the face twice because he was upset about someone being on his lawn, according to police, according to the New York Daily News. When the cops questioned Thomas Conrad about the dispute, he told them to, quote, get the fuck out of my house, end quote. The incident happened in Sorrento, Florida, in a gated country club community. Apparently, Conrad was irritated that a worker cutting his neighbor Jack Henson's lawn and was not respecting the property line. So then the neighbor asked Conrad several times to stop harassing his gardener. That allegedly further upset Conrad, who began shouting, quote, vulgar obscenities, end quote, at Henson and said, quote, I should punch you. Henson said, quote, go ahead, but I'll call the cops if you do. Conrad, the 90-year-old, punches his neighbor twice in the face and then went back into his house. So then police arrived at the assailant's home, and his 89-year-old wife said her husband couldn't come to the door because he was lying down, which, by the way, fantastic way to tell the cops, oh, no, thank you. the guy you're looking for, he's laying down, so he can't possibly go to jail right now. What a terrific response. So then once convinced to speak to the authorities, he said he argued and struck his neighbor because his neighbor said that he could. The officers then asked if your neighbor had said you could shoot him, what would you have done? Quote, then I would have shot him, end quote. Police said that Conrad then began to lose his patience with them and dropped an F-bomb while telling them to get off his property. He then got tense and balled up his fist when heard that he was going to be arrested. He is now facing charges of simple battery and resisting law enforcement.
Love it, love it. I got three comments. First comment, I also
pictured Clint Eastwood, right?
Yeah. The first one, Gran Torino. This is Gran Torino. This guy just embodies Clint Eastwood, Gran Torino. Second one, I also am a Florida man for a little bit. I had a driver's license from the state of Florida for about 4 years in college, so I respect it. And then number three, isn't this like consignment or like he told him to hit him in the face. He gave him intent or whatever. I don't know the legal term of it, but he should not be in trouble because the man told him to hit him in the face. It's like you coming up to me hammered and being like, oh, hit me in the chest or something, and I hit you in the chest, and then you turn around being like, oh, I'm charging you with battery. Mm-hmm. Also, this guy that got hit, how old was he?
46.
What a loser, just sissy man. You just got punched in the face by a 90-year-old man? Come on, dude. And you're calling the cops because you got a little, the dude's gonna come at you like as slow motion, dude. Either dodge it or don't try to file for a freaking battery charge. This is absurd.
I mean, you're kind of put in an awkward position because either you just let an old man beat you up or you hit him once and he dies. You don't want that on your conscience. Have you ever had a ghost? You don't want that in your house.
Right. The word I was looking for was consent. He gave him consent to punch him in the face.
Yeah, consignments work a lot used clothing.
Been there, brother.
So, but that's not a defense because assisted suicide is illegal, and that's giving someone signed consent of, hey, come kill me. You can't say oh yeah, hit me in the face, do it, and then he goes, you told me I could do it, you son of a bitch. But no, I mean, also he was going and being a dick. Who cares about? There are a few things that old people hate more than someone being in your yard. It's like the Batman signal to old men. If someone is walking their dog and that dog's on the yard, watch any old man will fly to their window and just he better not poop on my yard. If he poops, whoa, he's gonna be one sorry bastard. I tell you what, they hate someone touching their yard. They have the Augusta National grass out there. And so it's just a gardener tending to it. Maybe he's going around the hedges. He has to go around the other side. He's going to clean it up. If he doesn't clean it up, then just tell your neighbor, hey, have him clean it up. But if you are going out there and yelling at the gardener so many times that your neighbor notices, you're probably going too far.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But I also can't wait for that day that I turn 65 and just get to yell at people, get off my freaking lawn. Looking forward to it.
I feel 65, you still have your facilities to you. Then you're just being a dick. This guy, but also, how uncomfortable is this going to be living next to this guy moving forward? That neighbor is just thinking any day now, any day. If he catches the flu one time, any day now, man. That's so uncomfortable because after he dies, his wife's probably also terrible, and so the wife's gonna be you having him put in jail was too much for his old ticker. I'll tell you that. And she's just gonna all right, Mrs. Conrad, can you go back inside? I'm trying to take my kids to school. That's got to be just a horrible situation. I haven't had a neighbor I didn't like. At least that I can think of off the top of my head. I've had neighbors I didn't want to see, a neighbor where I know if I find my way to them, they're not going to let me leave in a conversation I don't want to have. I had one neighbor. I like to find peace walking my dogs. When I'm walking the dogs, I'm just in my own head, thinking about what Doc wants to say on the podcast. And I just find peace walking. I don't like walking with other people unless it's my wife, because I adore my wife. But I had a neighbor who every single time she would see me on the dog, like, can I walk with you? We're talking about the craziest shit. And so I shit you not, I would see this lady from a distance and just go the other way every time. I'd see her and be like, nope, pass. Nope, no thanks. And she definitely saw it, because one time I was so flagrant about it. And the next time she saw me, I said hey in passing, and she walked right past me. And I was like, I feel bad, but also did I get myself off the hook? No, I didn't, because the next time she saw me, she has to walk with me. And so I had that situation. I can't imagine like hating your neighbor. That's rough.
Dude, you're in a staring contest with your neighbor and looked away and lost. That's why she came back, bro.
Man. Yeah, I don't like people not to like me, even though I'm remarkably unlikable. So there's like a big net there. But I also don't want to be disturbed. And so it was a real pull for me, a real Chinese finger trap of my feelings.
Yeah, I mean, crazy neighbors are never fun. You know my crazy neighbor that I used to have. God rest her soul. She was a wild one.
She dead?
No, but she moved. Yeah. And whereabouts unknown. But yeah,
we were talking about this whole thing dying. I didn't know if I knew she moved. I didn't know she moved on.
Thoughts and prayers.
Me from my illness.
Yes.
Thank you.
But no, crazy neighbors are the worst. You gotta do whatever you can to avoid them. Not answering phone calls, no eye contact. You just gotta do it. It's absolutely a must do. And if you don't, you're just subjecting yourself to pain and torture, which is cruel and unusual.
Yeah.
Wait,
all right.
Are we the crazy neighbors to our other neighbors?
Yeah, it's sort of like what you used to hear of every group of friends has a bad influence, and if you can't figure out who it is, you're the bad influence. If you can't figure out who's the crazy neighbor, I mean, I'm the guy with dead. We're gonna think that's the decor that I have out in front of my house. Be like, oh, don't go there. That's the guy who likes dead mice. Like, people are gonna be. I'm not gonna have any trick or treaters, but neither here nor there. Maybe we are the crazy neighbors. I don't know. We're crazy. We're neighbors. It fits. That'll do it for us today. Doc has some editing to do. Thanks as always for listening. You can check us out at www.sjbatlanta.com. Check us out and we have a new writer coming aboard who'll be doing some writing for us out of Mobile, Alabama, I believe. So be on the lookout for that. Great gambling and college football writer. Also, check us out on Twitter at SJBAtlanta. Check us out on Instagram at Spaghetti Junction Boys to quote Elon Musk, the dankest memes. And, of course, you can follow Doc at SJBDoc. Thanks, as always, for listening. Thanks, as always, for telling your friends. We appreciate and love each and every one of you. We'll see you next week.